previous GSC, but both Kenobi and Volterix has kind of had tournaments to forget to a certain extent, right? So let's see what they kind of come into here now. Opening Carousel. Everything Barcloak really be viable right now to believe, so that's kind of, you know, what you want to see at the end of the day here, David. So, belt opener on a Talir.
Talia not so relevant anymore. Kai'Sa, of course, the more relevant of those Lagoon units. I like the Turtle mix.
The turtle is so good, actually. The turtle is insane.
Except for the one in game one that was a little bit, had a bit of a moment there, and Scramble was distracted by it because it was on the side of the road. I'm not going to go further with this analogy, but one thing to look at after these two games, the kind of the micro meta of this day two. Graves 100%, Yone 100%, Deja to some extent as well. That Shyvana carry game from Super Eagle that got a second, I think was very interesting as well. But we haven't seen too much of those 4 Dragon boards overall in these last 2 games.
Solo with the build your own econ trait set down right there. You know, one of each, and then you can make the decision afterwards.
Matella's maybe as well. Has a Malphite tool already online. Has a chance for Nidalee and the Skarner as well. Only missing that Vlad to have that very good Astral opener.
Yeah, so Max, you're a person that really likes Matella and really has done a deep dive on him. And we've seen a lot of AP. Is that like his go-to tree to play?
I wouldn't actually say so. So Matella himself said that he doesn't really like dragons all that much, but any playstyle suits him. So really working well with set 7.5 so far. However, in the tournament, he has fallen off a little bit. I feel like there were moments where a pivot should have come a little bit earlier, or there were clear directions from other player in the lobby and he didn't really see the signs and therefore was competing, fell off in that moment.
Matella has to feel bad. There was a Nidalee in the shop, opted to go for the 2 Nasus as well, has a Leona pair, could have had Astral in already with the Skarner and the Lux he found in the shop, could maybe go for a Lux angle. He did it in the game 1 yesterday, had a very, very good result with that first place. Could have done it as well here, but instead going to opt for the Leona 2. And as soon as we get to the desk, Makes your presence and Weeda's presence with all the chaotic energy puts us into a spot where now the players are probably just shaking their heads.
Yeah, I mean, I love some prismatic augments, and especially in 2-1, that's going to be a statement, that's going to be direction, that's going to be tempo, and we're in it for a ride.
We definitely are here, and again, birthday present. It was, okay, I like the reroll here as well. Lagoon Crown is actually very interesting because this gives you so much flexibility when it comes to playing like the Astral plus Lagoon setup, because it allows you to like jam that Astral Emblem onto the Lux. So you have Lux that gets the extra attack speed, gets the extra AP, and then you just have the double econ train set up just very, very early on.
Looking at the Mirage, it will be Spell Sword Enchantment. One that we didn't get too much. I think it seems like it's been pretty much every game on stream has been Warlords, Duelist, or Executioner. We haven't gotten Pirate's Greed once. We haven't gotten Electric Overload once. I think Spell Sword also maybe just one time. So nice to see some variety there with the Mirages and see how that affects players trying to go for that Deja or that Yone.
Radiant Relics here, Fist of Thanos.
Some interesting augment choices coming through here as we already see them in our internal. Noel has opted for the Swift Shot crown and Kenobi going for Windfall on 2-1. I remember a screenshot posted by our dearest Chinese representative Thanner with 50 gold on 2-2 or something due to Windfall as first augment prismatic.
Yeah, I mean, Windfall was very good back in set 6 before they kind of started tiering it for like whichever stage of the game you were at. Not really the case anymore. It is a nice economic buffer, but again, that comes at the cost of a lot of combat power. You look at someone like Noel, who has a Swift Shot Crown, which also means that it's going to be a Rage Blade already in play, if I remember correctly. So clear direction there. Travis's Cybernetic Implants were the best augments in the game. Gives you so much combat power as well.
One more thing to note, Namzi will be Cannoneer for this game. We saw Darkus trying to go for that Cannoneer in the last game, or in the first game in yesterday's, well, as we start off this tournament. We'll see if any players opt to try out the new buff to Cannoneer, but what we do see here is 2 Ezreal 2s already on the board for Volta. We didn't get to see too much Ezreal reroll that we did see in the Chinese and Korean tournaments. And 2 more on the bench as well. Oh no, Volta! Don't do it to us.
I mean, it's not even a reroll if you hit it like 2 free. Come on, David, right? It's just natural, and I think it's kind of comes together due to the birthday present. I assume that one of the units from that was going to be that Ezreal pair. Has, you know, a Kiana pair in the bench as well. Like, again, there it
is, the birthday present augment card coming in for anybody that's unfamiliar. Now, Weeda, why don't you take us through how we're going to play with this?
I mean, generally speaking, it kind of makes the game play a little bit different. You get a unit for leveling up, and again, the unit goes 1, 2, 3, etc. But it does give you quite a lot to come through with at the end of the day, and, you know, this could just, like, you could just natural anything here, you know, 55% is such a high likelihood to find that Ezreal.
Has that Nunu as well. Going to be able to slot in with the Cavs, go for 3 Cavs. Again, the damage is done. You have the damage already sorted for the rest of this stage 2, 3, maybe 4 as well. Now you have to work on that front line, make sure you have enough time to stall out for that Mystic shot to really start ramping up the attack speed on the Ezreal.
And notably, Volta has been saying in interviews on the French TFT page that he is a player that likes to play a little bit beside what other players are going for. He likes going into niche comp. He likes being uncontested, allowing him to hit those really weird comps, but hit them well and finding those units. And it's going to be a spatula-rich carousel.
Double 61 had Prismatic Prep, had a Rengar on the bench, and there's 3 Spatulas on this carousel, so it could be a very interesting game of Rengar and Dark Flight for Double 61 if he's able to get that going.
Yeah, but seems to prioritize the glove maybe instead here. A little bit of a dance between him and Sinar is going to be the change at the end of the day. And these type of carousel mind games can kind of be really important at this point in the tournament because it puts such a mental stressor on it because they have to make so many decisions.
I'm laughing because I remember the screenshot you showed us with of one of our players who shall not be named, who said that it's very important to his tournament success here that we play on a certain server because emotes are a part of their psychological warfare in this tournament here. So I'm looking forward to that.
There's only one player that's going to use that phrasing, right? I mean, I'll let the chat do the rest out there, but I mean, again, this spot is pretty good. Has that early Ionic Spark, and again, I wouldn't expect this necessarily to be an Ezreal free as an end game because you don't have the Guardians that it really needs by the time, but it could be a very strong mid game.
Yeah, Birthday President is overall a tempo augment that really lets you, again, outpace the entirety of the lobby because you're able to get those 2 stars for free. And we're seeing it here. Kiana 2, Rel 2. Despite the synergies not being perfect for this board, as you mentioned, there's no Guardian, there's not like the perfect setup. It's still going to be good enough to, I think, turn this lose streak around. Maybe not just yet, but definitely by the time you get to Krog, by the time you get into stage 3, you're going to be win streaking for sure.
Absolutely, and I am just so curious where we're going with these boards. Right now, Matela and Travis, oh, I spoke too soon. We're both on 100 HP, but Travis has been dethroned, and so did Matela. Both lost their win streak right now, and the lobby is moving closer once again.
And there we have it, the Ezreal free has been found now. Next best slot in is going to be that Twitch, not going to be found just yet, but again, just can slowly but surely start just rounding out the board. He would look at Metala's board. He was talking about how he was looking quite nice with that Lagoon. So he even has another spat if he wants to go back into the mages fully with the first tier he finds because he does have the mana generation from that Spear of Shoten.
Kenobi just hitting the Kai'Sa 2 on 2-6 could be a big stabilizer for whatever he's going to run. We spoke about it a lot, Panawida, with the Kai'Sa being an amazing item holder, regardless of where you're going for the most part, because it allows you to go for the items that will do really well with Dragon boards, right, Guido?
Absolutely, and again, this Serid could be a holding party. It could also be, if a random Serid 2 is found on like 3-2, it could be the big thing as well here. Again, very important to note, Matela is going to go 30, 40, 50 here, so is going to be in a very good economic position.
And we see on Travis' side as well, also has a good econ opener. The Astrals, the Nidalee already 2-star, the Gnar coming in as well, going to go into what I think it's going to be that Jade Siphon board, that Chiyu Siphon board into the late game with the great econ opener because you need so much gold to get those Dragons 2-stars, to get your Jace online as well, to get maybe your Bard and Soraka later into the game, and to go 9 eventually as well. So I think, I mean, you know, that's a comp that I played so much when it was oppressively broken 2 patches ago. So I have a very good understanding of how strong this can be with a good econ opener. So once Travis gets those Astral set up, especially with this, you know, very good HP total right now, I think it's going to be a spot to the top 4 for sure.
Yeah, and we are seeing the overlay on the right side. I see an awful lot of Nidalee. That's just going to remind me that we will see Panda in a Nidalee cosplay as well during this tournament. So stay tuned for that. Leave a follow if you haven't already. And we hopped on over to Kenobi's board. And there you see what Windfall can do. Of course, he tanked some losses. He open forted. He went for the full loss streak here. 66 gold on 2-7.
The downside is you're down a Prismatic Augment when you get into stage 4, stage 5, where the econ, if you didn't do enough with it, won't matter as much. So we'll see Wida how that pans out for him, and if it kind of bites him if he's not able to get that same combat strength on the board.
Quite frankly, I'm impressed he's still 68 HP, right? Like, to be completely honest.
Leona 3 though.
But you look at the board and it kind of does make sense. He could even go as far as just committing the Swiftfoot Emblem as of right now if he really wants to do that. Not necessarily going to be the case. Commitment probably comes on the next stage because, Mike comes now. Again, this could be a trigger for a Swiftfoot related augment like press the attack, another Swiftfoot Heart to start pushing that vertical.
The pre-level as well. waiting to get level 6. Again, this is one of those positions, Wida, where you're happy to lose still. If you don't, that's fine. You can start turning around your win streak now, but you're happy to maybe lose one more round, get that extra bit of econ, and then turn it around 3-2 onwards, and then start leveling. Maybe even to 7 very, very soon. It's definitely at 3-5 because he's going to have the gold to do it.
I really like the options here that our players are presenting. Of course, it was Prismatics, and after this round, we will go into the next augment, and that could throw us for a tumble or just a soft little breeze if they turn out to be silver augments. So I'm just waiting for what's going to lurk around the corner once we get there in a couple of seconds. Volta and Sinarge still finishing up their round as we go over, and here they come.
Preparation.
Could be good with the Yone reroll if he's going to stay on 6 and slow roll here, which I guess will be the case. Finds Varus too as well. Hey, why not? Just slot it in.
Good CC as well. Has to restart Leona for the front line already. It's lacking some items to really help that elevate itself. Like, I assume that we're going to see Belt potentially be prioritized really heavily on the Carousel to get that Sunfire Cape going, just, you know, to get some more damage, help Yone kind of circle out. I would have preferred to see him go really deep for Yone 2 here, just as a stabilization point. But again, with the preparation now coming into play, just having that fully prepped when you make that spike, you could just try to maximize the loss streak.
Similar spot where you're saying, hey, if I get a 2-star, that's a 2-star, great. But if I don't, I get more prep charges before I get that upgrade. So just seems to be caught in a place where nothing can go wrong. Everything is good for Kenobi there, and he's a player that definitely needs to have some good results here in this game.
And nothing could go wrong is what you might have said if there wasn't another player also looking for a little bit of a Yone moment. We are on Solo Gesang's board, who we haven't checked in a lot just yet. He currently is running a 3-item Olaf as well as a Yone 1. Not too great, but...
Noel, also, we talked about the Swisher Crown, has that Yone 2 already put into place. And it has a double Swisher emblem because, again, we saw the spats earlier on coming into play now as well. So Noel is in a really good spot here.
Something that's really interesting about that augment specifically that Noel ran with here, we saw that yesterday in one single lobby. It was a triple prismatic lobby, and I actually don't remember the player name right now. I'll get that for you next round, but that player went for 5 swift shot with the Yone with 2 swift shot emblems and did fantastic, placed in the top 3. Really, really great round.
Kenobi does find that Yone 2 upgrade now at 3-3, and as we've been mentioning, as we've been seeing, not just this game, but pretty much every game this tournament, at least 3 players trying to go for a full commitment here, not just an item carry commitment, a full commitment, trying to 3-star this, and obviously not everyone can get this upgrade. Not everyone's going to be able to get that Yone 3, and that might spell trouble for those players that are not able to hit in stage 4, might end up bleeding out to a bot 4 finish.
This account stabilizes quite a lot. It's just talking about stabilizing. Well, we got a game pause here, just, you know, good old-fashioned. We cannot have any players having any issues, right? We got to ensure that everyone is, you know, they have the tools that they need to perform their best at the end of the day. So, Volta now win streaking. We see the board on our screens behind the pause screen.
Makes me feel like an official esport when we have a pause here, but I come back to us, and what else is there to talk about Makes other than just prismatic augments right away and just Yone being once again the star of the show in the early and mid stages of this game?
I mean, it's always going to be Yone, right? Like, he always comes back around somehow. I don't know why, but we're here with him, just vibing along the way. And even Prismatics are not going to change that. Just such a good composition, such a strong unit. And I really would have liked to see maybe a Cursed Crown moment, or maybe, you know, Dragon Soul. That would have been nice, but I guess we're not in it for today.
A key thing, a theme, as we're seeing with the augments right now, is the second round, which has been silver, has been pretty much exclusively board-focused. There is the Cannoneer Heart, and there's the item grab back. When you're looking at Knife Set, 7x Shell, you name it, all of these are very good, flexible default augments that just give you so much combat power.
When the game started, I talked about a board that we have not seen much of today. That is a 4-dragon board. I'm hoping at least one player is going to be able to bring out that Aesol, or else we're going to look like fools bringing up Aesol in the meta talk and then just not seeing him all day long. Yone, we got covered already. Shimmer skill, definitely as well, Wida, as we're seeing. Every single game, Shimmer skill start for most players. But Aesol still something we have not seen just yet. Do you think there's a specific reason for this, Wida? Do you think it's just the tempo of the lobby not allowing those fast 9 strategies for some players?
It's hard to get to, right? And I think that, again, tempo is one thing, player preference is another thing, because there are just players that, generally speaking, will not prefer to play that because you have to play these AP lanes. And we did see it from Sinar in the game number 1, where he had that Lagoon opener with the blue buff and the Kaiser, and transitioned it into, you know, we had the Dragon Imperialist and transitioned that into the 4-dragon board. So again, you need those mid-game holding points. We've seen people like Solo Gazang hold on to his Dacia spots, for example, or you'll see other players go for the 4 dragons.
Yeah, and to be fair, while we might not have been seeing a lot of ASOLs in our on-stream lobbies, he definitely came through in the off-stream lobbies. There's a lot of dragon boards that performed really well. Of course, how could it be different? Sometimes the occasional one that goes a little bit into the bottom 4, but for the most part, they have been top 4ing, and that is, I think, no one's surprised there.
One more reason. High-end shopping was removed from the game, as was Level Up. Mordog Blessed are super competitive players that know that anyone that finds a prismatic augment is going to have a very good chance, Wida, of going Fast 9, of assembling the Dragon board, and of probably winning the lobby or at least getting a top 4. So I think those extremely high variance augments, I think it's important to take them out for the competitive segment of this set, which is, of course, regional finals, LCQs coming up, and, of course, the World Championship. And I think that might be a reason why, also, it's a fraction, a tiny bit harder to reach those level 9 boards.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we are currently in a game pause. It is game number 3, and there seems to be an issue. Of course, we are working hard to resolve that. So for now, you're going to have to make do with our beautiful faces. But something else I wanted to talk about is my favorite topic, and that is our trophy, because I feel like it hasn't gotten enough showtime just yet. It's more beautiful than our faces. I'm sorry I have to say this.
I'm surprised our chairs got stolen and not the trophy. I'm not sure who the thief was, but get your priorities straight, please.
Don't jinx it. I mean, I don't think we know who did that.
We have too much power as casters. I forgot, mate.
I also feel like a trophy might be harder to fence,
It seems spiky. It seems, yeah, that might be true.
It is a dragon.
Are you a professional thief, Wida?
So
Are you telling us the tools
I'm
of
a
the trade?
professional thieves glove user.
Okay,
let's put it like that.
That's a good save.
Let's put it like that, I don't necessarily got that lucky gloves touch, even though my life is not a prismatic opener.
I don't think anyone has a lucky gloves touch. Not the best performing augment
I'm
in
gonna
this
go
set.
back
production team
into
does
the game. Thank you so much. The issue seems to be resolved, and we go back in with Kenobi. And I'm really excited for this lobby for the one reason that there's a lot of swift shot to go around, and we've been talking about this with the position of Xayah.
Another spat.
Because I personally feel, just looking at our stats, 12-21, Xayah, Ragewing, not doing too great. Yesterday we saw Wega with that Shyvana 2-on-4-1 and ended up, I think, going 7th. So maybe with this, we have a better Xayah option.
No spats left open from that first carousel, Megs, but maybe a second Swift Shot emblem could be built for some of these players that are going for that Yone angle. I'm curious to see what Double has been doing. He had that prep early on, the prismatic prep as well. He had the Rengar on the bench. I'm curious if he's actually sticking to Rengar and Darkflight. Oh, looks like he is, at least for now. He's loose streaking, but that might change once he gets a few more upgrades.
So this is not the Rengar aspect,
right?
Because there's a Last Whisper here that's going to be put into place, which means that you don't want Last Whisper, generally speaking, in the Graves, in the Rengar setup, right? The Graves here, can just stand his times around here. Hopefully he's trying to find, full set of items for the Graves on the wall, so he doesn't have to bounce off that belt at a later data stage of the game. But Prismatic Prep is so strong when it comes to making these type of boards spike at the end of the game here. So also, Matilda Volta, we need to talk about this, gets his third spat of the game. This could be the mage spat. And you have so much flexibility with double Lagoon plus a mage emblem to really just do whatever you want.
Yeah, prepare for trouble.
And make it double.
Yeah, because Casey Double is on the rise once again, currently second in our overall standings, and looks like he's on a good trajectory in this lobby as well. Is not competing with anyone, has the Darkflight set up, has sent a strong signal to anybody else that says, if you're going for the kitty cat, mine has preparation stacks. If you're going for Aphelios, mine has preparation stacks, so don't you dare touch them.
Any viewers at home that are thinking, why is 061 playing this throwback comp that was the initial version of why Darkflight became so problematic with the Zeeks? The reason being, Wida, that obviously Cannoneers got recently a buff, and Graves has been a very well-performing unit all throughout this set.
And Nomsy is also
That's
Cannoneer
also
this
true.
game, which is a pretty big thing when you consider the buffs that 4 and 6 Cannoneers gotten. So that's also why I like the fact that he's pushing levels rather than trying to slow roll for Aphelios free on level 6. Yes, it's a big spike, but as we all kind of got to know at the end of the day, Graves is a true carry in this comp.
Not just that, but pushing levels while leaving your Graves on the bench and purposely trying to not upgrade it just yet while you get the prep stacks is also a very good reason. You can go 8th and get a pretty high odd chance of getting Graves in your shop naturally.
Absolutely, and we are now facing off against Sonar. We haven't spoken too much about what's going on there, but I feel like it is time to mention the basically knife's edge 4 that he has picked up.
We talk about, getting that 4th and 5th item when you have the Jewel Lotus, when you have Blue Battery, but with Knife's Edge, similar way, you get so many stats into the exact stat that you want. It gives you perfect direction at 2-1, in this case now at 3-2 as well, doubling down on the same augment. And I think it sometimes works when you're, especially with AD, with just flat AD, because there are so many ways to multiply that AD, you're able to lean very far into one stat and not have that be something that might not work out for you.
I'm sorry, why is there a Terra on 3-7?
It's a good question, Makes. I don't have an answer, but Solgasang might. German player, you might want to reach out to him later and ask him how he was able to assemble the board with already an Idas and a Terra.
He sang the Song of the Dragons,
Oh.
That is,
Is that how it works now? Okay, okay.
You have to teach me that song, Wida. I don't know it. Maybe that's why my ranked games have not been going so well in this set.
I feel like I should not sing on broadcast. I feel like we might lose viewers over that.
GSC3 we tried and it did not work out.
We tried, it was bad. Casey Double now finding that Graves 2. That's going to be a big power spike and stabilization for his board. But everybody else, we just saw it, already had upgrades coming in as well. There was a Jax 2 that showed up, which is usually also really nice to have. And you are seeing all of the trades on the right side disappearing as we speak. Classic. But yeah, I mean, loads of dragons on Solgasang's board already, definitely looking to go into that Dragon 4 angle.
Not too many Yones on the bench for Kenobi. I think this being a product of how many players are contesting this unit, as they have been pretty much every single game this tournament. It's going to be quite messy for those players that are going to be low-rolling those shops and not quite able to find those last few copies they need to 3-star. And there's Deja popping off once again. Can Twitch do it with the Blast Potion? I think not going to be quite enough. The Wind Blast from Deja seems to be, no. It is very powerful all throughout Stage 3 especially.
And we're going to go Prismatic Silver Gold, so that's something we can need to look out for here. Also, Yone is a composition where you can stay stable on 2 stars for quite a while right now, and this is a pretty important spike. We should look at around the lobby here. Upgrades coming around, especially for Travis down the bottom at the leaderboard. Someone we haven't really checked in with too much this game, but finds Neela 2, Seri 2, so it's clearly on some sort of Lagoon angle.
Speaking of angles, Matela just leveled up to level 8 already, which should allow him to have a bit better shot at those legendary. Solgasang sees this and says, not without me, I want some dragons as well. Noel still picking some augments here. Thrill of the Hunt, something that we've seen a lot, but it's going to be best friends for him.
Even more attack speed for that Yone, allowing that Rage Blade to stack even faster to multiply off of that base attack that Yone already has with a .85, and now even more so with the Swift Shot Emblem and the best friends as well. Yone and Wukong best friends. Do they look like that to you? I'm not sure. I'm not
yes,
sure they vibe.
Yes,
really?
Absolutely. One's a monkey and the other one's a clown.
But Yone is like very, agile and swift, and Wukong just bongs you on your head. I think it's a completely different tree of damage.
I mean, maybe if Yone is a Tones Knife fan, that's a good one,
That might be a way to link them together, but I'm not convinced, Wida.
All right, you guys. We're going to take it back just a little bit. Players have all picked their golden augments, and there's some interesting stuff in there. Double 61 was able to pick up Hotshot. We saw him on the Cannoneer Darkflight angle. Really nice pickup for him.
Rolls coming in for Noel, finds another Twitch 2, another Twitch 1 as well, so 2 off of that Twitch 3. Not the main damage carry, but still a good unit to have upgraded as well, as just, that secondary or tertiary way of getting some damage down onto the board. But Double 61, someone that I think every player is going to be very scared of, especially with the fully prepped Graves 2 with Edge of Night. The belt, though, not really ideal on Graves. What do you think this might end up being? I guess just a Zeke's again as well?
So the thing that's worth noting here, if it's going to be a regular dragon, we are going to be expecting remover in at least every third or so shop. So not the end of the world. He can kind of start to redistribute that and then just transfer that over to being a Zeke's on, let's say, the Yone, not the Yone, on the Aphelios, for example.
Not too much gold to work with, though. 20 gold, level 7, still has to get to level 8 eventually at this point. If he's double, we're already halfway through stage 4.
Yeah, but that's not to roll, and he's 61 HP, right? He's chilling right now at the 2nd place. Volta also has just kind of been chilling since, he found that Ezreal free and kind of been able to round out that board state, really. So the French player is now on top. This is what we're used to seeing, but for Volta has not been the case this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Volta is on. We haven't checked in with him in just a little while. At the beginning of the lobby, he went with that birthday present and has found an Ezreal 3 super early. We can see the components on the left side of the screen right now. And I just want to know what he's got going on at the moment. So we will check in with him after the carousel.
We should probably clarify, because we have Matala de Volta and SLY Volterix in the same lobby. When we say Volta, we mean Volterix, and when we say Matala, we mean Matala. Again, if you're a newer viewer that are not fully clear on that abbreviation, that we just get this cleared, that is what we're doing.
I think it's the respect your elders moment here. Volta has been around for way too long to be taken, to have that nickname taken away from him.
If I'm not mistaken, Matila only recently changed his name to this, and before that it was something like the slamming clown, like, because he likes to slam items very early.
Okay.
So he had branded himself like that. It was in French, and my translation of French is very bad, but that's what was going on there. So a little bit of an homage to Volta.
Viewers, pay attention. I think this bit of trivia from Makes will probably become an egg question in the next tournament. So take out your notebook, start writing this down.
Interesting here as well, he has taken high side, and again, you look at what I was talking about here, he's chosen to make another Lagoon emblem and not make a Mage emblem here, so this is going to be like 6 Lagoon, but it's going to be an Aurelion Soul.
And going to try and get so much of those components of that gold, just really Lagoon, of course, being an econ trait in its own way as well. We're seeing this ASOL, we ask and we get it, but it's not going to be quite enough. Ezreal's still going to be able to clean up house here from Volta with a guild emblem as well.
And a big thing that's worth noting here, if this is going to be a full-on Dragon transition here, due to the fact he has 3 of those Lagoon emblems, he's going to be able to continue to just generate those stacks over and over and over again for the rest of the game. Just that way, have access to that lever of just outscaling. But he has a Zoe 2, Kenobi free. Kenobi has now hit Yone free as well. On top of that, like, just spikes all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Matilla was on a little bit of a scary ride for the past rounds, really, for the past games, but this lobby is doing him so well. Finding that Lagoon Crown so early, Celestial Blessing, getting a little bit of extra healing, sustaining, and now the High Tide. Really nice. Everything's coming together. Zoe 2, and now the ASOL as well, 1 copy short.
Picks up a rod as well from that component. He just was able to pick up at 200 Lagoon stacks at this point. Going to be a while until he gets that champion duplicator at 400, but definitely if he sticks to this Lagoon, which I think he will with all the different emblems, going to be able to reap the rewards later in Stage 5.
Yeah, but let's start here from Travis.
Before we go to Travis, just really quickly, I want to highlight the High Tide, because we have an augment card for that, and that's just going to give you a little bit of extra mana but less attack speed, and that's going to do so well for that ASOL to really pump up and get those casts out.
Hello?
That's looking pretty good. We also have Radiant items galore, which means that double 61 might be able to equip that Graves, and really any player that's using kind of those hyper carries, Kenobi as well, that Yone 3, are going to be able to get that bit of an extra edge with these incredibly strong items.
You look at this, right? You can go for second Archangel. It does leave you without any healing option, but it does have the Celestial Blessing. There's just no way you skip this option because it's just so good overall. You can start looking for items for potential Neela, for example, if you want to go back into that at any point during the game.
Rolling for that ASOL will find an Aoshin, but keeps going. 1 copy short. He wants it.
Too.
There's a Zome. Is he going to pick that up, or is he going to keep on going? Looks like we're going to go with the Zome for now. 8 gold, and the ASOL is still missing. I think that was it for the rundown of Matella, but somebody else has hit. We are hearing from our lovely observer that Aphelios 3 has been found by no one other than Casey Double.
This is, of course, very relevant, but as we mentioned before, the Radiant item on the Graves, and I think the Graves, despite being just a 2-star, is almost always going to be the more relevant carry in any version or any combat that's running him because of just how strong he is as a unit, how well he's able to just pretty much 1v9, but also when you have Aphelios helping out, it definitely is a great thing.
Eternal Whisper is just such a good item. Like, it is so good. It is just incredibly strong, and it just, you pair it up with the Last Whisper as well. Like, there's just not, like, all these tanky front lines, they're just gone.
They're melting.
It's not quite Eternal Whisper on Corki from the good old days of Set 7.0, but it's quite close in terms of just the amplification of that. So, Nomsy 2 is still not found. Not necessarily a big thing, Nomsy. It's just the ultimate trade bot in this type of setup.
Yeah.
Poor Namzi.
Just feeding her into the enemy board, a little bit of extra beef, a little bit of extra bodies before anything gets to your actual carries. And of course, allowing those extra cannoneers, as Namzi is cannoneer at the moment. Here we're going to see the damage dealt breakdown of the last round. And to be fair, that's pretty much of what we expected.
We also saw Braum 3 there from Noel, so the front line tank going to be fantastic for him, but now a very important fight here for Matela, who is on the lower end of the HP standings, just at 26 HP, facing one of the stronger players in Double 61. We'll see if the Graves can do it all by himself, or he's going to find himself into a pretty precarious spot, jumping right into that black hole, but doesn't even matter because the burst from this Graves, the movement as well, he's so fast, he's so powerful, he can really just do it all.
Yeah, and the healing also being neglected here by the hotshot. That was the final augment for Double 61. Is also something that we need to keep an eye out for, because it does mean they can skip any sort of Morello, Sunfire Cape going down.
Yeah, absolutely. But slowly and surely, the first players are getting knocked out here in round number 3. We can see Matela trying desperately to stabilize, finding a Nyla too, which should help in getting this comp some extra. Will get popped here, takes out the Azul, now fully into Lagoon Mages, but Sinar is also on single-digit HP.
One of the players we saw in games 1 and 2 was able to top 4 both of those, really trying to fight for that top 8 spot. He was around middle of the table coming into this day 2. In this case now, fighting to just not be 8th. We talked about mitigating losses, trying to, again, stay among that maybe 6th or 5th spot, still rack up those points. But in this case now, it might be a little bit too much. The Ezreal from Volta is still killing off, but not... Oh, it's going to be enough. I think Sinar taken down to 3 HP. I'm not sure if there's a bug there.
No, he's knocked out. He's knocked out. He was just on a different board trying to run away from the damage that was coming in for him.
Bold strategy.
He's not going to escape here. Taking an 8th. Really unfortunate. That Siphon one just not doing him any favors, not able to take out the Ezreal.
Okay, there was no Yone on this carousel, because that would have been a big thing for Noel, who is first picking here. And he's 1 Yone short as of right now. That would have been so big. And you can see that he's kind of in a position where he's running away from the carousel almost, trying to figure out what he needs to pick up, because it's not necessarily that clear cut for him. Because again, once you have your Yone items, it becomes very weird, like very, not as clear for you. But
we talked about it. This was the problem that someone was going to run into. In this case, it is unfortunately Noel. Kenobi found that Yone 3 much earlier, and we see the direct impact of that. He is currently win streaking in this stage 5. At stage 5, if you haven't 3-starred your Yone, you're going to be in big trouble. You need to hit that power spike a little bit earlier to stay alive.
Someone else that has a 3-star that Yone, Noel and Kenobi, both on the 3-star Yone for now. They're both running the Swift Shot emblem, and it will be all about whose Yone hits faster.
That being said, still level 6 Weeda for Noel. He's so far behind when it comes to levels because he spent so much time trying to roll for this upgrade.
Yeah, and this locket here is not necessarily going to have a great impact either, right? But again, what are you even trying to item? I said there was no good frontline item for the Braum, for example, which would have been the most ideal thing to look out for here. Good stuff here on the Aphelios is going to delay the healing aspect from this comp quite a lot.
That being said, the Zephyr with the best friend is going to be a bit of a positioning puzzle in terms of just trying to move last second. You have to move, you have to make sure you're still getting that best friend's impact. In this case now, it seems to not quite be enough. Double 61 going to get another win. Noel's still alive, but just barely. Down now to 10 HP. Matelas as well with 10, and Travis down to 9.
Oh yes, Travis, we need to see what's going on here. Yet another Lagoon player has that Graves 2 with a Radiant BT, 2 Zeeks, and a Seraphine 3 with Morello, Archangel, and Hextech. I feel like this comp should be so much stronger than what we're seeing.
Look at the augments. They're really good, David. There's no build together. But
I'm surprised he's so low in HP, to be honest. Maybe he hit the Graves 2 a little bit too late, considering that Double 61 was also on that Graves 2. Took 3 out of the pool very early on. We were going to get that upgrade at the start of stage 4, I believe it was. So maybe that might be the reason why. We'll see if the fight RNG can go in Travis's way. If he can at least outlast some of these players that are at 10 HP right now.
Yeah, but he gets the ghost fight here against Matela, which is going to be really big. But again, look at the Seri here, the Nyla.
Nyla?
Good old-fashioned Nyla,
Slipstreaming around, but the Graves is onto her, gets distracted. The Edge of Night just proccing there. He turns back around and says, "Not with me." Takes her out on the last breath as he moves on to the zone and is able to survive here.
And that's going to be it. Matelas knocked out, unfortunately for him. Had a very great start to the tournament in Game 1, but then everything else didn't quite pan out for him in the games after and now as well in this Game 3. Jace 2 for Volta. Found a Yasuo 2 earlier on, so getting those big upgrades that he needs to stay among this top 4. That being said, a bit of a gap starting to form between Double 61, between Solo Gasang and the rest of the players.
Yeah, solo play we've barely talked about all game, I feel like, right? We haven't necessarily had full clarity of him. Again, that's just kind of been the story of solo. Like, he's just...
Vibing.
He's just vibing. but straight up, like, if you met this guy in person, he is just continuous. Like, he's just one walking vibe, honestly, right?
Alongside Signer, the two players that were getting top 4 in both games 1 and 2 in the last lobby we were spectating. Now Solo Gasang, the only player able to do it again in this Game 3.
Volta rolling a little bit here, trying to, of course, find some dragons. Does not get to upgrade that Shyvana to Shyvana 2, but will pick up an Aoshin for now, which isn't bad either. Unfortunately, not much gold to roll with, and we can see on the right side of the screen, he's not the only one that's in that position.
Considering the swap, I imagine, yeah, puts the Aoshin in. Finds Shyvana 2, has to upgrade it before the fight starts here. We'll see now if this Graves can do it. Travis is on his last life, possibly. We're already in stage 6, so lots of damage coming in, and he's facing up against the HP leader, Solo Gasang, all the dragons on the board, the Earthquake coming in from the Terra, the Golden Scales trying to shield his Idas, trying to buy more and more time for just Deja to do her thing. Not quite the 5-cost dragon upgrade just yet, but Deja, it might still be enough. We'll see as this Wind Blast comes in. The units perfectly line up, but too much HP and too much resistances on that Graves. Noel as well gets taken down. That Yone not quite working out for him.
Okay, Kenobi finding a pretty good upgrade for the board. Getting that Braum 3 is going to get him a little bit more beefiness, going to buy that Yone some more extra time. And Travis was really lucky here, I feel like, getting not a terrible counterplay, allowing him to stay in, still fighting to make it into those top 4 together with Kenobi and Volterix.
And Solo maybe missing that upgrade. Wida still on Deja at this point in the game. Do you expect that to be the final board he finishes on?
I mean, when you look at the itemization, right?
It's
Deja items more so than they are,
yeah.
you know, Aoshin items, right? I think that's the big thing right now for Solo. He's probably just trying to bleed out for a second. I feel like Double kind of has the entire lobby in a chokehold right now, depending on whether or not the spike from Kenobi is going to be strong enough.
Warriors Emblem, Titans Vow, Varus. I think that's the first time this exact variation of items has been built on this Varus 3-star, but it seems to be working out. Twitch and Varus getting it done for Kenobi. Travis taken out, but as we mentioned, the spot he was in, maybe happy enough to just be a 5th, still racking up some points in these standings, trying to fight for those top 8 spots. And we asked for dragons. We got at least this Aoshin now. Not quite the Acel.
Who asked for dragons?
I
Speak
did.
for yourself.
I did, Makes.
Do not use the collective we, as I did not ask for them.
I didn't ask for prismatic augments, and we still got it.
Come through here. We're still running that Azrael 3 for now. That Volta picked up in the first round. So much value out of a 1-cast unit. Is still on the guild angle, getting him a little bit of extra Omnivamp due to that emblem, and is looking for upgrades, but once again, not much gold to work with, and is going to meet up with yet another Yone.
This Braum just walks right up to the Aoshin and just hits it with a shield. Aoshin taken out, but still the backline, the Varus left alive. I think Ezreal can't quite chew through this Braum just yet. Too many Warmocks, too many, one stone plate actually, but still enough to get that Braum to stay alive the entirety of this fight. And we have a Dragon Carousel in this stage 6.
Oh yes, we love some dragons, right, Panda? You asked for it and you shall receive. Here they come. And that could just be what Volta would have needed, but he is knocked out. So the top 3 players are going to get a pick of the litter here as these dragons wait for them to be picked up. Solo Gasang enabling that Deja 2 here.
It's probably going to be a Deja free angle he's trying to go for, right?
90 gold now becomes a level 9 for Double 61, trying to again defend this 8 win streak already for him. I love Double 61 as a player that just always is someone that comes in and tries to prove points that a lot of other players are going to be spectating him and saying, oh, so 6 Cannoneers is actually a very viable first place comp, it looks like, here from Double 61.
Now also finding that Soraka, adding a little bit more sustain, adding a little bit more healing. Let's see how that comp does against Kenobi's. KC Double is on an 8-win streak, and if Kenobi can manage to turn this one around, he might just lift. All eyes on that Yone in the backline, trying to swish through the enemy frontline. The Aphelios is still standing, and so is the Graves. That's not going to be an option here. As the Varus actually carries, but it's not enough enough. Kenobi, however, manages to hold on just one more round.
That Varus seems to be popping off even more than the Yone in this case, but again, once that Braum gets taken down, once that essentially solo frontline unit gets melted down, then the doors are wide open and that backline is going to melt right after him.
And this was with a Pantheon 1. Pantheon 2 has just been found for Kenobi, right? So that's something as well that could make a big impact here. Again, having that extra little bit of tankiness, a little bit of extra HP could have been the difference maker right there.
Yeah, and Kenobi will meet up with Zulugazang, so there's going to be a lot of dragons in his faith right now as we all look upon the Deja in the background.
This is a stony Terra, triple gargle stone play, but the Yone and the Varus just melting through that front line. The Dragon's Descent comes down now from the Shyvana, able to stall a little bit longer with the Yasuo as well, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough. Still now, Yone left alive. The Deja just not really the premier carry, but not really the right items to upgrade into that Aoshin, into that Ace, and that will be another win for Kenobi, another win for Yone. And I mean, how many times have we seen Yone winning in this day 2?
To be fair, it was the ghost copy of Zulugazang, so a little bit weaker than what the actual one might look like. But for now, there's going to be a little treasure crab that's going to show up and give some extra items.
The Rift Herald showing up here. Declaw here being the option for Zulugazang. It's going to be a nice little item for the Yasuo, one would assume, but could also just go on to the Shio just to make her that much more tanky. We're
really facing off against two AD players. 61 playing that Cannoneer comp. We have Kenobi with the Yone with the Swift Shot, so really not going to be as relevant as it was maybe yesterday when we saw it picked up there to win that Game 5 for Potable.
Yeah, and Zulugazang is still looking for some upgrades. Finds a Bard too if he's so inclined to take that one. Yes, he is going to go
Two
with
off Deja,
it.
one off Deja.
Missing those Dejas.
He rolled past it, did he not?
No, I think that was I think that was a Shio.
I see a Deja. David, are you
no,
hallucinating?
Maybe I am. I picked up hallucinate the
Manifesting
augment.
the dream. No Deja, no Shyvana too. Still a lot of room for this board to get stronger, but now we're going to see the actual matchup, and I'm not sure if Kenobi manages to take that one down once more. All eyes on the Yone. He's on the right side of the screen trying to take out the Terra, but he is going to get stunned by that Bard, allowing the Deja on the opposite side a lot more time to just get those casts out, and she will get those casts out and take out Kenobi.
A big win for Solo now. Solo versus 61, two of just the legendary players in the MEA, the legendary players from their own respective countries. France versus Germany, two powerhouse countries in this region, really. And we're seeing here from 61, he's scouting, he knows what's up, he knows what Solo needs to activate as a win condition, and he's holding that Deja in his shop and in his bench as well.
Yeah, as long as it's in the shop, it actually is still taken out of the pool, which means that, Zulugazang cannot hit it.
KC double goes sure, though. He's going to pick up the second Deja, and Zulugazang actually deciding to go for that Shyvana 2 over the Deja, has decided to pick her up and make that board just a little bit stronger. Both players should survive here, so it's not going to be a fight where someone gets knocked out, but it might be giving us a direction for where we're headed.
HP bars have left, but the units have also left us because that Deja Wind Blast coming in so hot here. 61 gets a big hit down to 12 HP. Zulugazang streaking on fire. Maybe doesn't even need that Deja 3 to win this game.
No, he had to keep it up because of the spike from the Shyvana 2 is just much more impactful than having that sit on the board for a while. Because when you come into these situations here, like these 1v1 scenarios, yes, there might be one board that is just that much stronger than any other board in the lobby, but you can't be in a position where like one minor fight RNG thing ends up costing you the entire game.
Now, is there anything that can change here, Mix? We're going to see as we lead into this fight, and you narrate us through the action here.
Yeah, Zulugazang actually still holding on to one Deja and 21 gold. Pretty safe and secure here that nothing's going to happen to him. So let's look what that Deja can do. She is going to have free casting range. The Bard ult misses her, allows her to keep on going, and that will be it for KC Double as Zulugazang makes sure he gets knocked out, takes a win home in round number 3 of our day 2 of the EMEA finals. I love seeing it. I come to the desk, a German takes first. What else could I wish for?
I want this power as well. Can we get Odessa? I think Odessa's the one player that maybe